Hey everybody, so there was a lot of people that were interested in the jewelry box that I'm building for my wife for Valentine's Day. It's the olive wood walnut jewelry box that I've been posting about. There's a lot of questions on the joinery that I use. I've been taking it apart and reassembling it as I've been working. Specifically like when I was doing the drawer slides on the wooden drawer runners here. So it was really convenient being able to take apart the box and make adjustments while this thing is not assembled. So there's only so much I could actually explain typed out with pictures, so I figured I'd just do a really quick video, or as quick as I could possibly make it for you guys, so you guys get a better understanding. So anyways, the assembly of the main construction of this box is sliding dovetails. I did that with a 1/4 inch router bit here on the grooves, and then followed by a dovetail bit. That was done with a router table. I'll just show you really quick. This is the router table that I built for myself. It was actually one of the first projects I built, but I've upgraded it over the years. So one thing when you're doing sliding dovetails that's really convenient is having micro adjust, and that's like these knobs here. Keep an eye on how this is. It makes micro adjustments here. That's why it's called a micro adjust fence. So anyways, the fact that that's important is because after you make your grooves here, what you want to do is, if you have this router bit just barely poking out of the fence over here, you want to sneak up on your cut one way, flip it around, and do it on the other way until you get this nicely defined dovetail joint where the tips of the dovetails are just pointed on both sides. You don't want flat sides. And that was really easy to do with that router table they had. I mean, there's other ones you could buy that have that option, but this was a lot cheaper for me to just build it. So anyways, I'll show you how I do this. This just slides in, hence the name sliding dovetail. And really like this because even though I could assemble it and disassemble it, that's really solid, and that's like a 90-degree angle there. So when you have all 4 pieces attached, I mean, it's pretty stable. So originally I had just a plain old olive wood back panel here that goes in this 1/4 inch groove on all 4 sides. It's recessed 1/4 inch as well. But this piece, the olive wood, was slightly smaller than a 1/4 inch, and over the process of building the rest of this, the olive wood cupped pretty bad. So the way I fixed that was I got a 5/16 piece of walnut that I had here, glued that to the other side of this, so it's a double-sided piece. And this will be my show side on the outside. This walnut piece will be on the inside where nobody sees. And I glued it up, and it did twist a little bit, so I took my hand plane, planed it across this way until the twist was completely taken out, and then I flattened up the whole back side of the board, flipped it around, gave it a couple passes with the hand plane again, and then ran it through the drum sander until it was completely flat. And the fact that I was able to take this whole box apart and reassemble it was convenient, because when this thing was still proud a little bit, I was able to remove the thing again, the panel, run it through the drum sander until it was a perfect fit again. So that was really convenient being able to do that. So let's assemble the rest of this box here. Sliding dovetail, you know, slide. There it goes. All right, these are the boxes that I have, drawers I have built. So I decided to go with half-blind dovetails. Over the 5 drawers here, I have a grain-matched faces on all 5 drawers. And had I gone through to use through dovetails, you'd see the dovetails poking out through the face portion here, which I did not want. So some people were asking me what's the difference, or what exactly is a half-blind. So this is the difference. Most people, when they see dovetails, you see both pieces of wood poking out on both sides here. That's a through dovetail because it goes all the way through both sides of the wood. Half blind only goes a portion of the wood. That walnut does not go all the way to the face over here. See that? it only goes halfway or part way, not all the way through. So that's what makes it a half blind dovetail. So now you understand the lingo, now you understand this. Same thing with the drawer pulls. I also did the same thing there. The drawer pulls are those walnut, big chunky half blind dovetail by itself. I did that on all 5 drawers. I thought that giving it a contrasting look would be a nice touch, nice look to the box. So that's what I did. And there you go. That's the drawers. And you can see how that looks up close there. All the gaps, or the spacing, is equal there. The face grain matches really nice. Let's see here. Let's move on to the side doors. So these, what I was going for was jewelry box doors that open up here, that will house like necklaces, bracelets, and so forth. So if you're new to dovetails or trying to learn, watch a bunch of videos. In my opinion, Rob Cosman was probably the best person I learned dovetails with. I'm still learning. They never come out as perfect as I want them, but they come out better than most. The main thing that I could suggest for people to do is label all your pieces. So you can see there in my red chalk, they're labeled A, B, C, D, and so forth. So when you lay out your pieces, here's a square, right? So when you lay them out, you want it to be like this. You want B, B, C, C, D, D, and then A will be the outer ones, or so forth. And so the reason why that's important is because these are hand cut tails, and so although I marked them all the same, they might not come out exactly the same. And so this one might be, like, let's say my B dovetail might be smaller or thinner than my D dovetail. And so if I go on and try and fitting my D dovetail into, like that one does not fit. If I try fitting my D dovetail into one of the other slots that it's not supposed to go, if I force it in or mallet it in place, I'm gonna blow out these tails. I'm sorry, these pins. So that's a tail. They're 90 degrees straight down, and the tails are these. And you can see that they're angled. They have little angles, and that's because those angles like that slide in place just like this. So you don't want to force in the wrong piece to these. That's why you label them, because if you do, you're gonna warp your fitment, and then when you go to fitting the piece that's supposed to go in there, it's going to be a loose fit, and that's what you do not want. Or worse, you might just crack the grain all the way down. I've done that one before when I was first starting, and it sucks. So glue can only fix so much. You might be able to glue that little tiny tail back on, but it's never really a good fit, or it might just break off really easily again. So just label your pieces. So, okay. I have my bottom and my top pieces labeled here. This is the panel that I have for the outside of the door here. So I know that this is the top side. I don't have this one labeled, but I know this is the top because I have these dowels that I put in here where I'm gonna hang my wife's necklaces. So that's how I know that that's top side. So bottom's here, that's labeled the bottom. So now I assembled it. Also, these are stopped dados on all 4 pieces. You can see that the groove does not go all the way through. So there's no way for you to actually slide in the bottom panel like you do with like some drawer constructions where you just slide it in on one side and then nail in a nail or something, hammer in a nail. So the way to assemble this particular box, if you will, is you have to start with the tail sides because they're the ones that have the angles, and so the pin sides. The tail sides are 90-degree cut, so they could just slide right in. So that's why we're starting with the pin boards first. So bottom to bottom. B and my B joint here, and C and C. So you shouldn't have to force these guys. They should just go in with hand force here. You could always persuade it just a little bit with the mallet, but if you're struggling to fit it when you're first starting, it might be too tight of a fit. You might need to pare off a little bit of wood somewhere, or sandpaper, or even a little file, you know, so just a little bit at a time and keep on going back and forth until it finally fits properly. Okay. Originally I had this open, and when I had set my necklace in there, I had opened it and the pendant would basically fall through here in this little area, and so I'm thinking if you were to close the door, it probably close the door on the chain or the pendant or so forth. So I wanted to make a tool tray here, so I made these grooves here on the bottom and made this lip, which originally was just a straight piece of wood, but I didn't like the look of that, so I gave it this nice little curve that I did on the bandsaw, did a router template, and then with a template bit cut the shape and finessed it with some sandpaper, and that was it. So there's that. We'll do the other side real quick. Top to top. Whoops. C and B. It's this piece here. It's almost in. Smack the actual wood itself. I always hit something else so it doesn't mirror or dent the pieces of wood here. So there's those. So on these holes I made here, I took it up to the drill press. I gave it a 15-degree angle. There's no reason why I chose 15 degrees. I just took my protractor, set the angle of where I wanted the dowels to be, and picked whatever looked okay to me. So 15 degrees is what I thought was gonna look okay. And then I got a 3/8 inch walnut dowel, put it on the lathe. So this is about 1.5 inches. You can kind of see the shape of that actually. Wow. So it's kind of has a bulbous tip here. So it's 1.5 inches. I gave it an extra 1/2 inch, chucked it up on the lathe on that 1/2 inch, and gave it some shape. Used the first one as a template for the rest of them, marking some lines on where all the grooves would be. And then I made 14 matching dowel bits and 3/8 Forstner bit for the holes, so they have a nice flat bottom, and that's where the flat bottom for the end of the dowel will go. So once I was done turning them, I just cut off the 1/2 inch excess that I had there, that I used to chuck up on the lathe, and so that's gone. Now this fits. It's the 1.5 inches that I wanted to start off with. So these go in place here. It's just press fit in, and that's it. And you can see that. So looks really pretty. Walnut, so it matches the rest of the box. One. So I have some other spaces here on the sides that I added 3 more pegs to. So awesome. This is the right side, this is the left side. Alright, so another thing I didn't explain here. Originally I had planned to go with walnut, the whole exterior portion walnut, and I figured I'd keep the theme of the contrasting woods going, so I went with olive wood, since that's what we're using. I had some leftover still, so olive wood, walnut, and so forth. And then the drawer pulls on this one's on these they're not drawer pulls, but they're little handles, made the same size as the ones that are on these drawers, and so it's just nice contrasting wood. It's a nice little touch, has really pretty grain, and so this is what it looks like. Trying to get the best angle here. see that. Kind of see inside the pegs. And so when I was building this, I was almost gonna build, or almost drill the holes the same height, the ones that are here on the wall of the box and the ones that are inside this door. And that would have posed an issue because if they were the same height, closing the door, they would have been smacking with each other. So what I did was I put the necklace ones up higher, and then the bracelet ones, I lowered them. I mean, I figured bracelets are shorter, smaller loop than the necklaces, so that'll fit centered right there. And you can kind of see right there with my watch, it's in the middle of the box. So that was my thought process on that. And let's show you the side profile here with the drawers. I think that's a nice view of the box there, but you can see all the half blind dovetails here across. So that is the jewelry box here. Show you another piece here. On the back side, I mean, you only see the little bits of dovetail there, but my wife and I both know that it's a through dovetail over here. I'm stuffed through dovetail, but it's nice knowing that I was able to do that. I mean, for me mentally, I guess the fact that I was able to do that for the first time was pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of new experiences, a lot of new techniques that I tried learning on this. Things I would recommend, doing half blind dovetails. So for instance, they did not come out perfect on the ones that are here on the sides. You know, well, this one came out fairly decent, but you can see there's a little bit of a gap on one of these here. Now, after I did these half blind dovetails, my wife had went out and purchased me fishtail chisels. A lot of people don't know what those were, so let me show you real quick. This is what a fishtail is. This is a regular bench chisel, and this is a fish chisel. Oh my god, you can't really see it there. It's basically wedged outward there on the tip, and so this is really convenient because it gets in little corners that you cannot get with a flat tipped chisel. So she purchased these for me for our Valentine's Day gift, and when she heard that I was going to be doing the drawer fronts on also half blind, she's like, just hold that thought real quick. She ran upstairs. I was going to give this to you for Valentine's Day, but you know, since you're going to be using them, I figured you might as well have the right tool for the job. So since you could see how that half blind dovetail came out, you can see just a little bit of gaps on there. But now look at the front one here. That came out near perfect. I mean, that's the difference. You get the right tools for the job and your work comes out looking really clean. So you don't need to get a full set like what my wife got me. You could only just, you could just do with just one size. You don't really need to get them, and you're not going to be using them for everything. So, but that was, I think, one thing that made this really convenient. So another thing, if you wanted to try sliding dovetails for the first time, highly recommend these micro adjust fence pieces here. So this is from Rockler here. It attaches to your table, and it's just a knob. It goes in and out. There's a magnet piece that you attach to your fence. So if you have your own or a metal one or whatever, but this magnet, you could either glue it or fit it into the wood. I use it CA glue to set mine, and I love it. I use it every single time. Every single time I do a small project or I need exact measurements, that's what I use. It's probably one of the best tools I have. So, and I made it myself. So, yeah. Anyways, enough of me talking. This is the jewelry box. That's what you guys came to see. So, yeah. Learning how to do some dovetails. Keep at it, man. You'll get better at doing it. Just need practice. That's it.